second spot, so you've achieved your first target. How was that last night when you saw the result?
Yeah, look, you obviously want your destiny in your own hands, and I thought we had that anyway. But yeah, it's great. That was a goal at the start of pre-season. The first practice run was to finish in the top two, so puts us in a great position to challenge for the championship. And we've got one more game to tighten things up.
You've got the FIBA break after that, so Saturday, do you play Tarico, considering he's a little banged up?
Yeah, no, look, his knee hasn't responded that well, so we'll see how he goes to training today. Look, if he can't compete, he won't play, obviously. So we want to make sure our guys are nice and healthy leading into the playoffs, and yeah, he hasn't been able to train this week so far.
Can you give us an insight into the knee? Is it more a banged up knee, or is it ligament?
No, he hit it with Patterson. I think it was in the second quarter. Yeah, they shot that in. Yeah, so it was second quarter. Had it and played through it for the rest of the game, but then the next morning it got very tender.
So that's nice, isn't it? Knowing that you don't necessarily have to win, and you can actually have that luxury of sitting him out.
Yeah, look, no matter what the situation with the ladder, if he couldn't get through practice, he wouldn't have played anyway. So yeah, we'll make sure we get that healthy, and when we get into the playoffs, we've got a full roster.
So are you concerned at all about the playoffs with him?
No, we got a scan and it came back clear, so it's more of the hit and sore and bruising. So, like I said, he'll practice today. If he can't, he won't play.
Are you leaning towards resting him though, given he hasn't been able to train?
Well, you've got to go through practice. I can tell you after practice if you want to come back. Not a problem, but I can't tell you that until we get through, so yeah.
Does Miles play on restricted minutes or anything like that, given he didn't train the other day, or is he okay as well?
Yeah, no, he did. When he fell on the ground, he just jarred his wrist out there, so same again, it was bruised up. We didn't want to get it to hit in practice. He'll practice today fully though.
And he has to. He's got no choice.
He got no choice. Yeah, no, he'll play, definitely play.
There's a lot of articles coming around about stats and leading into the playoff and who's the best team here and there. Do you take much notice of that, considering last year you probably were not rated at all going into the playoff campaign, although finishing top?
Yeah, it's no, I don't. It's usually, I talk to the guys about, I grew up in the Get Smart era where the cone of silence come in, so what we talk about upstairs is the most important, the other stuff is just noise. So we've been successful at that in the past, and we'll do that again.
Because I mean, they're saying that Sydney are the deepest squad, and this is how much they're getting off the bench. But I suppose, from your point of view, your squad's pretty damn deep as well.
Look, one thing I do know, you've got to go into the finals with great momentum. You know, I think as soon as Miles come in, our record's 5-1, and we've played, 4 or 5 playoff teams out of that. So going into any playoff system, you want momentum, and that carries you forward. I don't care about any stats. It's how you play, and we're confident with the squad we got, and we want to get in a great position to challenge for this championship.
What's the ideal minutes for Damo this week?
Yeah, pretty similar to last week. I think he played around 12, 15 minutes, so just building him up again. The second game he pulled up really well, trained really well, so yeah, we'll look about the same again.
Do you expect an emotional Adelaide tomorrow?
Yeah, without a question. Yeah, they are emotional anyway, but they got Joey's 500th. There's reports that it might be his last game there, so they'll be up. I know they can't make the playoffs, so they might be treating this as a grand final as well. So, which is great for us. It gives us a tough competition and stronger competition, and sharpens us up for the playoffs.
You've had a great rivalry with Joey for a long time. 500 games, it's a massive effort.
Yeah, big time. I just got 400 this year. To fight another 3 years on top of that, it's like wow. But yeah, his longevity. He's been successful wherever he's gone. So yeah, it's congratulations to Joey. He's a good friend of mine. You mightn't think that on the court, but we're very competitive. But I'll certainly be trying to beat him. That's for sure.
You feel for him with all the speculation around his future?
Say that again.
Feel for him with all the speculation about whether he'll have a job next year, whether he'll still be there, what he's going to do?
Yeah, well, it's a part of professional coaching. You get that anyway. Any time that you don't make the playoffs, it's always that. Sometimes you make the playoffs, never sign a contract, and you guys are trying to see what's going on for the next year. So it's part of being a professional coach. You have to have thick skin and not listen to a lot of the so-called experts.
How have you guys been able to maintain that friendship? Because there has been so many things across the years, so many, I guess, emotional moments.
Yeah, I think we've both got white line fever. So as soon as we're on, we want to beat each other up. But look, I got to know Joey before he was a coach over here, so that's a fond memory. He took me in, and I lived with him for close to 6 weeks. So We built that friendship up beforehand. Same again, we'll have a beer in the off-season, but while the game's on, we're trying to beat each other.
Craig mentioned the rivalry. Is there any concern, or do you have to just talk to the players to say, don't get too carried away with, I mean, they've got some pretty feisty characters in their team that could stir a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, it's just being smart. It's making sure we don't run off the bench and get into a scrimmage. And I think a few years ago on Valentine's Day that we had the big Barney after the game. So, yeah, there's no love lost between Perth and Adelaide, and there's a rich history, and I expect another one to go down in the books.
Do you pay any attention to the battle for the fourth spot in the NBL between Melbourne United and New Zealand?
No.
Any preference for yourself
No.
between the two? And it looks at this stage that you will be playing Cairns. What have you made of them so far this year?
Yeah, well, they've played great. Mike Kelly's done a great job. I think he should be Coach of the Year, the job that he's done up there. So I can answer Cairns' questions next week. We've got Adelaide this week.
And as far as you mentioned Coach of the Year, some of the other awards, Defensive Player of the Year, no Wildcat in the running, but who for you out of those that are there should win it?
Oh, look, I would put Damien Martin there. Be late call up for it, or Nick Kay. There's two exceptional. Bryce Cotton, that actually leads the league in steals, but they're not on the list. I couldn't vote for him.
And as far as Nick Kay, he's been unbelievable this year. His stats actually aren't that different to last year. He's actually picked them up at the end of this year. Are you surprised that he doesn't get that much of a spotlight, even though he's so consistent?
Yeah, from backing up last year, he was All-Star 5 and great year. He's backed it up again. He's our Mr. Consistent, and sometimes the consistent gets overlooked for the flashy. For the new and flashy, everyone wants a brand new car, but how about getting one that's a Rolls Royce and turns up every day and works phenomenally and is a great teammate? We're lucky to have him and hope he's here for a long time.
Bryce is
Bryce
obviously
was
the...
out last year for the MVP. Do you think he's a chance this year?
Well, he leads the league in points, leads the league in assists. He's one of the top rebounders in the league. I don't know what other stat that he could fill up. His numbers are better than last year. His shooting percentage is better than last year. And he led us to a championship and led us into the top 2. So, mind boggles how these guys pick him. So hopefully that I don't have to worry about Sunday night.
What's he actually like to coach? How do you deal with a bloke with that amount of talent to try to teach him things? Is there anything you can teach him, or you just tell him, go out and just run to this spot?
Yeah, no, he's got a great basketball brain out there, and very unselfish. A couple of people in his position will, take 25 shots a game. That's not Bryce. He'll take 10 shots if needed. He'll take 20 shots if needed. And you've seen that in the finals last year. It was double team, and I think he averaged 6-7 assists for the series. So, to have a guy that's more concerned about the team score than his own performance and how good he is once in a generation kind of player.
So do you give him many instructions, or does he read the game himself and work off that? How do you work out what he's going to do out there?
You want to give me a game plan?
I'm just curious, how much is he individually motivated, and how much of it comes from the coaching staff?
Yeah, well, obviously we put a system, and then he can work off the system out of there, because otherwise you've got, and I've had that before, and you've had a great player, but they score 30 and the team loses. Bryce's biggest contribution that he wants to win, and he'll do what needs to win.
Would you prefer New Zealand to get top 4 purely because you'll probably have to fly to Cairns, and maybe Sydney can have a bit of a long trip as well for a grand final campaign?
I haven't thought about anything except ourselves. So I've been selfish, and whatever happens, happens, and we play it from there.